What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Numeraire today, NMR. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Numeraire, out of the top 500 coins, it's up the most in the past 24 hours. We have a 53% growth rate over the last 24 hours. And if we're looking at this here, we've had a massive pump over the last 2 weeks, really. Last week, 71%, this week, up 36%. And I'm making this video not to necessarily be like, all right, it's time to pump, we're going to go through the roof, and maybe it does. I'm making this video more to say that if you're looking at this coin or this project and you're thinking right now, this is the one, everything in the market's down, everything in the market's being boring, this is the one that I should put my money into, I'm just going to sell all my boring coins and put it into this one, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get burned. It didn't work out last week. I doubt it works out this week. I want to go over the short-term stuff, and let's just see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we do continue moving higher rather immediately. But even if we do, I wouldn't be surprised if the amount higher that we go is going to be insignificant compared to what's already been had. Okay, looking at this here, if we're looking at this on the daily time frame right now, there's a lot of volume on this spike here, on this move up. We're not getting as much volume, but we're still getting good volume. Today's decent volume, and in fact, we're looking at this here. The volume is 385 million versus a $151 million market cap. That's not good. Right, if you're on Dex Screener and you see something that has that much more volume over the market cap, you should probably stay away. Not that this means that you should stay away from this, but there's probably some, let's say, manipulation going on, at the very least, and what comes up comes down really easily with manipulation, okay? Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll come back out to the daily. Looking at this on a 1-hour time frame. Again, if we go higher, that's cool. If we can come up with a reason to go higher, looking at the indicators here, and we get that in the charts, I'm fine with calling for higher prices. I don't have a vendetta against this thing, but if you look here, you got a lot of volume at the top. What does that mean, right? If you have a lot of volume at the top or a lot of volume at the low, what does that mean? There's a lot of transactions going on, right? You see green and you think it's all buying volume. No, it's every buy is a sell, every sell is a buy. You're buying it from someone who's selling it to you. You're selling it to someone who's buying it from you. It's all the same, right? These colors are just there to distract you. Really, it just means there's a bunch of transactions that are being had right there, right? If there are a bunch of transactions at the top, it's probably the top. If there are a bunch of transactions at the bottom, well, it's probably the bottom. That tends to be how it goes. You know what I mean? Although the lows typically do end off with less transactions than more transactions, in all fairness. Because you sell off, and then slowly you sell off. All the sellers go away, and then there's no transactions left to be had. So then you die off in volume, and then all there is left are buyers. There's no more sellers. They've been exhausted, so then it has an easier time moving up, and then rinse and repeat. Anyways, here we are on the RSI at a very, very strong reading, all the way up at the 96 on the RSI. We were at this exact same area before where we topped off, but here you went up and came down rather immediately. Where here you've been kind of grinding up towards this area. This movement's a little bit different than what you had last time. I don't think I would correlate this to this last movement, other than the sense that you're at the same areas you found resistance. I would more think that this is kind of different. Right? It's like the overall move. Here you had a break and then you continue to run. Where here, there has been no break. You've just been continuing to run. Can you move up from here? Absolutely. Is the move over yet? Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't be surprised if you went higher. But let's just go over this real quick. Again, these wicks are not encouraging. I wouldn't be surprised if what you saw was some kind of move down, found support, you came back up and you had a double top, and then you go lower. I bet you get slightly higher highs, get people excited, and then you go lower. And that probably happens over the next 24 hours looking at this 1-hour time frame. But again, it's just an assumption. Here, you ripped all the way through your golden ratio to your 786. It's very common whenever you rip through your golden ratio on the first attempt without stopping there. Let me rephrase this. It's actually most common to stop at the golden ratio. So when you do this, the more common thing to do now is get some volatile drop back down, whether it's at the 382, whether it's at the 236, even if it's just to the golden ratio itself. Okay, you're at $19.84. The golden ratio itself would call for $18.94. Okay, so at least about $1 from here to the downside would come into play. And if you find support there, that's great. I just have a hard time seeing you skyrocket to new all-time highs or new relative highs. I don't know if it's new all-time highs, but new relative highs without first moving down a little bit more. And I would truly expect, just looking at this, 9 out of 10 times this kind of reaction takes you down to the 382, 236 area, which would be at about $16 to $14.50, $16 to $14.50. You're at $19.79 now. That's quite the haircut that you'd be getting if you bought here. Not to say that it can't go higher. Sometimes you do get these crazy moves, especially in crypto, where you can just continue to run at a nonstop pace. But that volume there, on Coinbase, second biggest exchange in the world for crypto, that has me a little bit concerned, right? That volume here on CoinMarketCap, very reliable source, has me a little bit concerned, okay? And then the fact that the rest of the market is stagnant and boring, what do I know? But this is my third bull cycle. Typically, whenever you have a stagnant, boring market and things are progressively moving lower as the days go on, and then you get coins like this that come out of nowhere and pump, typically these are traps. They're traps. You're in a coin that's like this, you bought the top, and now everything's been moving down, so your coin's being boring. So you sell your coin, you get the right idea, you're like, oh, hey, this coin's pumping, I'm going to buy it. And maybe you buy it here, you don't buy the actual top, but you probably bought it at a non-ideal area. And then what happens? Then it actually goes lower than where you bought it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we went down to $16 or lower. I really wouldn't be surprised in the least. And so now you're doubling down on those losses. Instead of holding your boring coin, which kind of goes down a little bit more as time goes on, you bought the exciting coin after selling your boring coin at the low, and then you get an even more massive downtrend because of that. So really, this is a cautionary tale of stay the hell away. And if it keeps going up and you're not involved, what I would say is good job. Good job for the people invested in Numeraire. Good job for the people invested in Numeraire, because that's awesome. And does this have bullish implications for the future? I think it might. I think this thing, at this low market cap, you have a lot of potential to grow. Absolutely you do. Pumping up while the rest of the markets are being boring, I think you have a lot of potential, right? You're right there with Pith. You're right there with Athena and Radix, and some other coins that are up and coming. This could be a telltale sign that you have a lot more in you. But right now, while the rest of the market's on dicey grounds, to say the least, you could just as well come back down and then come back up. I've seen it happen so many times. Again, this is my third bull cycle, and this is a trap. 9 out of 10 times, it's a trap. Looking at besides just the RSI, looking at the stochastics, bearish divergence there. No bearish divergence on the MACD, but you have been green for quite the while now. Doesn't mean that you have to come down, but I would think that if you go up at all, you're probably not going to go above this high here. So I doubt that you get above like $25. I personally doubt that you do get above $25. Or if you do, it's going to be a very quick rip and a quick dip afterwards. But I doubt that you get above $25. You could definitely go higher from here. Is this the high? It could be. It really could be, but maybe not. I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Again, it's extremely common when you rip through your golden ratio on the first attempt, which you have, and you hit the 786, to go all the way back to the 236. At least the 382, which is 16 to 1460, somewhere in that range. Okay, that's all I'm saying. This 4-hour RSI, you're at these areas for resistance right here, at some relative highs up here, right? Some of the higher readings you've seen, that's good. A lot of people think, oh, it's at the strongest readings we've seen, that means it's about to tank. No, you want strong readings. You want the strongest readings. That's how you get these strong moves. That's exactly how you get them. You don't get these strong moves with some slightly strong readings. No, you need these high octane moves here, but you are up here. You are hot. You are overbought. We got 2 hours left. It's looking like you want to come down. You might see something like this, where you come down, you bounce off the overbought zone, and then you get a slightly higher high in the price, but a lower high in the indicator. You get that bearish divergence, and that sends you down, right? That's all I'm saying. You probably are in a very similar area like that, let alone the idea of having a relative double top here, right? However that might look, you might be having a double top in the grand aspect of this high to this high here as well. Okay, so looking at the stochastics pointed down, looking like they want to come out of the overbought zone. If this 4-hour time frame closes red, that would be a bad look, and that would definitely, in my opinion, solidify that this is the high. So if this 4-hour time frame closes red, then yes, we're watching this now. It is the 6th day of September, and we're on the 16th hour of the day, the 16th. So this is the 4-hour candle starting on that 16th hour. We've got 2 more to go, so it's that third to last candle. So you can check back and watch that. If you're like watching this 2 hours later, has it closed red? If it's closed green, cool, you live to fight another day. But I wouldn't be surprised if we closed it red. And the MACD, in all honesty, looks pretty nice. But I'm not going to rely too heavily on the MACD on this time frame, especially when you're moving like this. I mean, you look nice. Maybe that means you got good stuff coming your way. I don't know. I mean, you did cross above the 0, which is nice, but I'm not going to rely too heavily on that. The daily time frame, your MACD is also very positive. Stochastics are positive. I like that. And the RSI is positive as well. But again, if you come up here, if you close maybe not today, but tomorrow, again, thinking that you probably do have a little bit higher to go. If you close tomorrow above $21, you're going to have bearish divergence on your RSI, your stochastics, and your MACD. Does that mean you have to go down? No. It's not confirmed bearish divergence until you close 1 day red. I mean, you absolutely could continue to move, but I would expect some type of volatility here. All in all, we zoom out. If we zoom out here, we see that you've had quite the recovery since or no, that's last cycle. I'm sorry. I guess not really quite the recovery. You've actually seen like a double bottom in all aspects. You really haven't had a bull market yet. This could be the beginning. This could be kicking it off. But you don't really kick off bull markets. Like here you kicked it off and look, you pulled back and then you continue to rally, right? This is like your lowest low of your entire what would presumably be your bear cycle. You hit your lowest low in April. Right, you've only just begun. This is your first move, that initial move. That initial move last cycle, and typically if you look at any crypto, when they have their initial move, they do consolidate for some time afterwards. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if you did have some kind of consolidation come your way, but looking at this here, I would expect that you do see higher prices. I'm not going to take the low of this here. I'm going to take the low of this move, okay? High to low, you're at 1935. I absolutely could see this thing going all the way up to $194. $478, anything and everything in that range. I mean, let's see, are you even capable of seeing this? I bet you could. Let's see. Yeah, you could even see a $2,600 price. I'm not bearish on this thing. I'm very accepting that you've got 100x potential, even like 130x potential in this thing. Absolutely. But first, maybe some consolidation. Don't get overzealous on these pumps. Has that served you well any time throughout the last couple of years? Probably not. Probably not. You know what I mean? Even here, you had a week where you had decent volume coming in, not as much as you have here. But again, the volume at these levels with regards to this market cap, that's not really a good thing. It kind of screams manipulation. And whenever you had anything that was of a similar degree back here, look at what happened. You came down. You went a little bit higher right here. You had a lower high technically, but then you consolidated for a long time before you really started to go. I think you'll have a different reaction, but this is probably a very appropriate kind of instance to relate to whenever it comes to what you're doing here, right? You'll have it happen for a little bit. You're the shining star right now, but then you will consolidate for a little bit more, and then you'll continue to rally, okay? I don't know if you'll consolidate for months or weeks, but I don't expect that you're just going to rip right through the roof now, and I do expect that if you wait like a week or two, I would bet you get a sizable discount if you're looking to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If you've bought and you're telling me, you're stupid, C-Zar, I don't like you, your face is dumb, and you're wrong, you suck at technical analysis, that's fine. Say all those things, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it just keeps running through. Maybe this is an opportunity that I missed on, and in which case I'll applaud, I'll say bravo, good job. But if I'm right, then I tend to be right in these scenarios. If I'm right, and the price dumps, the worst thing you could do at that point is sell and try to make up for it in another project. The best thing you could do at that point is make your bed and lay in it. You bought this thing. You believe it's going to go higher, so hold. Wait until it does. And it will. It will, okay? Don't do the thing where you sell and then you go chase something else that's pumping because you want to try to make up for that so that you can just get back into the crappy project that was being boring before, right? Don't do that. Just, if you want to hold this thing and you're not going to sell it here, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, I think it's a great time to sell. And it probably does go up a little bit more. Maybe it goes up like another $6 or $5 from here. Maybe it only goes up $2. I'm not a wizard. I don't know. But if you want to sell here, it's probably at a good time to sell. I mean, screw me for saying it, but you're up over 100% in the last week and a half. So I think it's a good time to sell. But if you're not going to sell here, if you want to buy and hold, I hope it goes up. But if I'm right, if in case it does not go up, if I'm right and it goes down, do not sell. It's okay to buy the high in crypto. It's not okay to buy the high and sell the low. The highs are relative. They're only momentary. Okay, you're gonna come back up with a vengeance. You're gonna see higher prices. You will see new all-time highs. But just be patient. That's my only bit of insight that I have for you. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Probably stay away from this one. Let it cool down. Bye bye.